Good morning. Thanks for joining me at Coffee with Kory. I've got to tell you about some meaningful conversations that I had this week. The first one was a new friend of mine, Riley, sent me a text message and said, "Hey, I've been watching a lot of your Coffee with Kory episodes, and there was one several weeks ago where you said when you ask somebody how's it going, that you're really interested to know how's it going." And ironically enough, I have a podcast that's called How's It Going? And I'd love for you to be a guest on it. He said, "I'm a little nervous to ask you, but I wasn't gonna know if I didn't ask the question." I am so glad you asked that question, Riley, because of course I said yes. That meeting new people and having great conversations, that's what fills my bucket. So thank you very much for having me be a guest. I'm sure Nick, you'll put a link to our conversation here on this social media post as well. And hopefully more people can start tuning in to How's It Going with Riley. The next one I want to talk to you about is a conversation I had with a friend that I've known a lot longer, Kevin, who owns a real estate company in another state. We got an opportunity to visit at Grace and Brandon's wedding last weekend. And of course, we talked about real estate. That's just kind of where the conversation goes. And Kevin starts telling me about some things that they're doing in their company. And right away I'm thinking, gosh, I don't think we would ever do that. That just doesn't, it's not how I was brought up in the business, and I just don't think that fits with what we would want to do. And the more he talked about what they're doing, why they're doing it, the impact that it's having on their agents and their clients, I'm thinking to myself, there might be something here. And you know, it kind of opened my mind a little bit, and I'm looking forward to doing a little more research on it, having further conversations. Hopefully Kevin and I will get an opportunity to visit again when we're not at a wedding reception. And so there's something else that I'm going to touch on when we wrap up our conversation that I think is probably a good lesson for the conversation that Kevin and I had. The other ones that I want to touch on, a good buddy of mine, Randy Poole, who if you tune in to Coffee with Kory regularly, you'll notice that Randy frequently joins our conversation. I've known him since he was my coach when I was a little kid, and he recently, a couple weeks ago, had a pretty big health scare that's landed him at the heart hospital here in Sioux Falls. And I got an opportunity to visit with him this week, go up and see him. And it was great to see you getting stronger, buddy. So I know that you've got an entire community back in the Blunt and Oneida area that is rooting for you. You've got generations of kids that you've impacted as a coach and a teacher, and we're all just waiting for you to get back to 100%. So you keep battling. Sounds like you're going to be here for a little while, so I know we're getting more opportunities to visit, and I'll be up to see you again soon. The last one that I want to touch on is my buddy Clark. I finally got to Rochester to see him this week. I promised him that I would when he went there for his bone marrow transplant, and it was really important that I got there this week because he actually got to come home yesterday. So I think I went up on Tuesday it was, and he had indicated that when I have my appointment on Thursday, if everything goes the way it's been going, they're going to send me home on Friday, and they did. So I'm so excited for Clark and Tara to be back home, have their family be all together again. And as you get up this morning, buddy, and have coffee with me here, I know that you're appreciating the fact that you got to spend your first night in your own bed in three plus months. So I'm thrilled for you. And thank you for the tour around Rochester. What a great community. We got to have lunch at the Purple Goat, and that place was great. I've got to tell you a little story with it. So we go to make our order, and I let the server know that I wanted the Nashville hot chicken sandwich, and she looks at me and she goes, "Ooh, do you like spicy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I really enjoy spicy." And she goes, "Well, good, you won't be disappointed." And I was not. It was quite spicy. Bree, our server, was very prompt with bringing back water. I probably drank a gallon while we were there, but the sandwich was absolutely amazing. So if you get to Rochester, I recommend going to the Purple Goat and sitting in Bree's section because she was amazing. I want to wrap up today by talking about an Instagram post that I saw. It was, I think the title was 20 ways to earn more respect from people. But honestly, as I read through the list, I'm thinking these are 20 things that I try really hard to implement that really just fill my bucket, that make me feel fulfilled. And the two of them that I wanted to point out was respect people's viewpoints even if you disagree. And that goes back to the conversation that I had with my buddy Kevin about the things that they're doing in their company. And right away I'm thinking, gosh, I just don't see how we would ever want to do that, and I don't agree with that. And then having an open mind during that conversation led me to the fact of going, geez, maybe there's something that I can work with here. So I think that's just a really good lesson for me to just try to continue to keep implementing that. When you initially hear something that you don't agree with, just to keep an open mind. The other one, which I always aspire to be, is it said, talked about always try to listen more than you talk. And the key term was be more interested than interesting. And I'm always interested in what people have to say, and I love that. I love that line. Be more interested than interesting. And I'll continue to aspire to try and be that way. I hope that you can take something away from that as well. And until next time, I hope to see you next week at Coffee with Kory.